Hello everybody and welcome back to Nifty 50 Photographers. So today we're going to do a creative photography project. Now this is probably one of the easiest ones you can do. It's certainly one of the first ones I did when I was learning photography, and you get some really nice results. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some abstract colourful patterns using oil and water. Now if you're new to this channel, I'm Richard Gill. I'm a professional photographer. And on this channel I provide tips and tricks to help you improve your photography, help you take better photos. That sounds like something you're interested in, then please consider subscribing to the channel. Right, without any further ado, let's get on with it. So let's start with the setup and what you need. What else are you going to need? So first thing you'll need is some sort of clear dish to contain your oil and water. Now I've got a round dish here. Ideally I would rather have a square or rectangular one, just because that matches the format of my camera. Now unfortunately our ideal dish for that is full of cold lasagna at the moment, so that wasn't an option today. Now the other things you need, you want to have yourself some sort of table or work surface to set up on, one that you can get your camera above. Now I've got some books here, and I'm going to use these to prop up the bowl, so I want to get the image or a colourful background underneath it. So I'm going to set that on there. Obviously I've got some little bit of cooking oil, a jug of water, and my super tip for doing this is to put in a tiny drop or two of washing up liquid. That just helps to make the oil disperse a bit and form circles, and that will really enhance the patterns you're going to create. So have some of that. Right, let's get set up. Now I'm going to set my camera on a tripod above the bowl. Now I'm going to use a tablet to put some colourful images on. I'm going to slide that under my bowl with the books above so that the bowl isn't resting on the screen of the tablet. Now, one place you can find some nice colourful images is a free stock site like unsplash.com. Just search on that site for abstract background images and they'll give you a whole nice selection. Just blow that up on your screen, zoom in so that it fills your screen, and that's what we're going to put under our bowl and focus on that. So I'm going to find a nice image. I've got a nice colourful one here. Let's zoom out a bit on that. Now the other thing to remember to do is the settings on your iPod, make sure, or your tablet, whatever you're using, just make sure it's not set to auto power off after a minute, because you'll be right in the middle of framing your photograph when the image disappears. So I'm going to go to my settings first now and make sure that there's no powering off on that. Now one other thing you might find helpful to do is make sure that your brightness is turned up to its high level, so you've got a really nice bright background there. Right, so I filled my screen with the image. I'm going to put that top of the table here between my stack of books, and just arrange my glass bowl so it's over the top of them. So I've got something like that. Now I'm going to put in my water. I feel like a Blue Peter presenter or something here for those of you from the UK who'll know that program. You only need really just to cover the bottom of your bowl, and then I'm going to add a little bit of oil to that, and again just a few tablespoons really. Now I'm going to add just literally a drop or two of washing up liquid, and that will help disperse the bowls, and just wiggle that about with your finger till you create some nice sort of effects of bubbles and different patterns in the surface, and then when you look down from above, you'll see that creates an interesting image. The next thing I need to do is set my tripod up over the table so that my camera can look down over that image, and we'll mount the camera on there. I'll make sure that bracket is nice and firm, especially as I've got an idea to have like a tea towel or something handy. Keep your hands dry, make sure that that's really tight so it doesn't fall into the water. And then we need to arrange this so the camera is right above the screen with the patterns above it. Now you can do this with an ordinary kit lens, which is really what I'm using here. I've got a 24-70 lens on this camera, but I will end up cropping the image because it's filling a bit more of the frame, and I'll switch to a little view from the camera so you can see what's going on there. But the settings I would recommend, so you definitely want to go to manual focus and make sure you focus on the particular area. If you don't know how to do that, I'll put a link to a video in which I describe how you can do that. And then you can, you've got a very shallow depth of field here, so you can work with that. You can use a nice wide aperture. Use something where your lens is performing at its best. What you don't want to do is pick up any sort of depth of field, really. If like the bottom of your dish has maybe got some scratches in and it's picking those up, as well as the surface film of oil and water, just make sure that you've got a shallow enough depth of field to do that. So I would choose something, I wouldn't choose something right at the extreme of your lens, but I would choose something a couple of stops in, maybe f5.6 for example, and play with that. And shutter speed, again, I would just choose something that gives you a nice perfect exposure. So you could put your camera into aperture mode or into manual mode and adjust the exposure manually. Once you've done that, I would also set a self-delay timer of a couple of seconds, just so you don't get any camera shake. And then it's really just a question of looking around your field and finding is there some interesting patterns, and then trying a few more with different backgrounds. So I'm going to shoot a few of those, and then we'll change the background. So once you've got everything nicely set up, your focus adjusted, by the way, I'm using an ISO of 100 here because that's where my camera is going to perform the best. What you can do is simply slide out your tablet, change the image on the screen, slide it back in again, and take another photo. So you can get quite a few photos taken very quickly without having to adjust any settings. You literally slide it back out again, have a look at your image, see if you're happy with what you're seeing, and crack on and take some more photos. And you'll find lots of interesting patterns. You know, play around also with your water to change the bubble pattern, and try slightly. You might want to try some putting a tiny bit of food colouring perhaps in the water to give it an overall tinge. And you find when you come to look at those on the screen, you can probably crop into little areas. So even if you've got no post-processing software, you know, just cropping into different areas of the image will give you lots of different patterns. And if you don't have access to a tablet or something with a big enough screen, you can work with things like brightly coloured wrapping paper or colourful images in a magazine. You've had some fun creating some really colourful abstract images. Great project for a rainy day, an indoor project for your creative photography. Now, if you want to share some of your images, you can do that on the Nifty 50 Photographers Facebook group. there's a link to that in the description. And if you're looking for any more tips and tricks on your photography, I do have a free ebook which you can download, 50 tips to help you improve your photography. There's also a link for that in the description. And in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.